Welcome to another episode of Real BMX Racing, the podcast. Today's show is sponsored by 110% Nutrition, Answer BMX, and BMX Connect, with a special shout out to Toby Henderson over at Send It BMX. Today's guest is USA BMX Women's Pro Teigen Pascual. Teigen, welcome to the show.
Where did it all begin for you? Started BMX.
Well, I live in Squamish, Canada. So began there when I was 6. Along with a lot of other people that are now elite downhill racers and slope style. So there's like Finn Isles, Jackson Goldstone. We all started on the same track.
Okay.
And then went from there, and now I'm in Switzerland.
Okay. How old were you when you started?
6.
6?
Yep.
Okay. And so how does the racing start out there? Is there like a novice, intermediate, expert type thing, or is it just done by age group?
It's same as America.
Okay.
It's the same USA BMX, but in Canada.
Okay.
So,
Okay. I wasn't sure. I was talking to somebody
people.
in Australia, and he was like, there's no novice, intermediate, expert. It's just done by age. I'm like, God, that's gotta be a hard thing to stay into.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot more in each group.
Right. Exactly.
Yes.
So, why Switzerland? How'd you end up in Switzerland?
I got here in April of last year. I think I just needed a change, like kind of a change of scenery. When I live in Canada, I drive 2 hours each way to go ride the track in Abbotsford with the national team. I think I just kind of need a break from that. So the opportunity came up to come live here. I live at the World Cycling Center for the UCI.
Okay.
And yeah, I think I just took it, and now we're still here. It started off as just being kind of a monthly camp-based program, and then they turned out they liked it, and now it's full-time. So now I'm still here.
There we go. So how are you
Yeah.
liking it out there as far as outside of BMX? Is there a lot
It's
to do?
definitely very nice. Like, I'm looking at somewhere now, and there's huge mountains. Like, it's pretty similar to home. I
Okay.
live close to Whistler. I don't know if anyone knows that, but yeah, it's definitely nice here.
Okay. So now I'm all over the place with everything. So what is their natural disasters?
We had a few close calls with flooding
Okay.
this year. There's the Lake Geneva is right a few minutes away, and apparently that gets pretty high sometimes when it rains a lot.
Okay.
So yeah.
So that's what's out there, because I'm like, normally there's always either earthquakes, tornadoes, hurricanes. You got some sort of natural thing going on.
Yes.
Everywhere,
I don't think many earthquakes here, but yeah.
Okay. So you've raced back and forth between Canada and the US, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is there a big difference? I mean, obviously they're both still USA sanctioned, but USA BMX sanctioned, but is there a difference in the way that they style the tracks from Canada to the US?
No, I think it's mainly just rider count, like the amount of people is the only big difference. Like, I'd go to America a lot when I was growing up. I think just for more people to race. There was only maybe 3 or 4 girls growing up my whole life. So yeah.
And if you race in the same 3 or 4, it gets kind of old fast, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. It's still fun though. It was
That's
definitely nice
what I was
growing
trying
up.
to tell my girlfriend. She's like, "Why don't you just do locals instead of nationals? It's a lot cheaper." And I'm like, "Because you don't understand. I go to the event and I get like an actual class versus me showing up and having to race like a bunch of 10X. And I'm like, I'm not that fast, but to have to keep racing the little kids and getting beat, I'm like, I don't want to keep doing that. It takes the fun out of it for me. So, but you know, so when did you know that this was something, like, were you always great at what you do, or is this something that, like, when did you know that this is awesome, this is what I'm going to do?
Yeah, I think I just kind of grew up in it. Like, everyone where I live, from small town, kind of small mountain biking town. So a lot of the kids did both growing up just to help with the mountain biking, and I think I just kind of stayed in BMX. I think I won my first race and I was hooked. I don't remember, but it was I'm guessing that's how it went. I've done everything too. Like, I've obviously mountain bike race, downhill, cross country. I did a lot of running, track and field, pretty much everything you can think of, but
Okay.
BMX is just where I'm still at. So that's been something.
How old were you when you first started jumping?
That's a good question and a good story about why I'm here, actually. Um, I think living in North America, especially, jumping isn't really the first thing, especially girls wanna learn.
Hmm.
Um, so it wasn't really my number one, like, point of training. Like, I think I was just more focusing on gates, focusing on my sprints, corners. But then once I got older, I kinda realized when you start racing more international people, that it's definitely very needed and a very important skill.
Yeah.
And I don't think I probably maybe started jumping confidently. I was definitely already teenager, like 14 to maybe 17 almost. Like, it took me a long time. And then that was also kinda why, because I started racing Worlds. My first Worlds was Rock Hill, and then second was Zolder. And I think that's where I was like, "Oh, this is kind of I need to catch up." And
Yeah.
once you start a bit late, I think it's quite hard to catch up when you're a bit older.
Hmm.
So, I've been struggling with that living in North America and Canada,
Hmm.
just because the tracks are not built for jumping, like, everything has a way around.
Right.
Um, and then that's why I came to Europe, or that's a reason why I wanted to come, just because I needed some work with that stuff, with the skills,
Right.
just because 'cause I'm racing World Cups now and Worlds in the elite and U-23 groups, so yeah.
So, how are you enjoying the traveling? Like, as far as like all the countries and everything you've gone to, have you been able to like soak up the atmosphere, or is it just get there and it's just business and on to the next one?
A bit of both. I think if you're there for long enough, there's definitely time to see,
Mhm.
um, but sometimes we're in and out just for the races, and it's kinda tough to actually look around, but living in Europe is easier just to see more just because everything's so small and
Yeah.
close. Um, but yeah, it's definitely a nice part of the sport.
Did you ever so what's your favorite track out there?
I do really like the track here. It's quite big, um, which is a little bit less common now in BMX. I think they're building tracks more smaller just for the majority of the people to be able to ride.
Right.
Um, but I think it's a challenge. It's definitely a good challenge here, which is fun. And traffic's very fast, so it makes it also quite fun.
So you're all about that speed there. You like to go fast.
Yes. Yeah.
See, that's the problem with me. I'm always like brake checking everything. One guy was like, you could have beat me if you wasn't brake checking every 30 feet. And I was like, I'm only going to go as fast as I think I can go.
Sometimes I have that problem too.
um, did you ever get starstruck once you turned pro? Like you were up in the gate and you look over and you're like, holy crap, I'm lined up next to.
Oh yeah, all the time. Like every race I go to. I Yeah, it's just weird, not weird, but it's quite nice going from watching those, like, I couldn't even name one person just because 'cause they're all like, I looked up to my whole life, all
Yeah,
the elites, all even the people I still race, like, the girls my age I still look up to, but yeah, I think definitely living here too, you see quite a few more of kinda that main bunch of people,
right.
but yeah, I still every single race, still, I'm like, "Oh, I remember you from the TV 10 years ago."
Awesome. Is
Yeah.
Has there ever been a time when I mean, or is the racing different from UCI to USA BMX? Like, do you have to like mentally go into each type of style differently for each type of race, or is it just
No,
go get it?
I think maybe it's just a me thing that I just kind of take every race the same. Um, I think you just need to really focus on yourself and having fun. That's a
Right.
big part of how I think of it. Um, definitely like bigger races like World Cups versus nationals in Canada are quite a big difference.
Right.
But yeah, I think if you're just enjoying it, then your body will just follow.
Yeah.
And you know what to do.
Do you ever get nervous by crowd size?
No, I think when you're on the gate, you just nothing, can't hear anything, can't see anything. It's pretty, yeah, not for
Do you,
me.
now do you listen out for the sound or do you watch the light?
Um, my whole life I've listened. Um, but I think I do a little bit of both now. I think I look up enough to see the lights, but I don't actually look at them.
Oh,
It makes sense.
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Right, right. I mean, because I'm old, I'm in my 40s. So when I first started racing back in like the early 90s, I believe it was, I didn't even know there was a light. I just assumed that was it was just the sound of it saying it, and once he was done saying it, the gate would drop. And everyone's like, "You ever look at the light?" And I'm like, "Wait a minute, there's actually a light out there. Like, where am I supposed to be looking at?" Because I've
Yeah.
always just like looking
Yep.
down anyways if I was lucky to stand up. But so also too, let me ask you, what's your setup right now on your bike? What are you riding?
I ride a Wheelwiss, which is not very common in BMX. Um, it's a Korean brand that sponsors the center here.
Mhm.
So I ride that bike, a three triple extra large, so a little bit bigger than most girls. Um, but I guess just what works.
And that's the one that's the WIIS.
W WIA WIAWIS.
Okay. So I'm trying to figure out. I'm like, I can see it in my head, but I'm like, let me see how it's like on the frame
Yeah,
right
it's not very common. Like, no, I don't think I've really seen it much in America.
now. I know. So what brought you to that brand?
Just living here, um, it's what everyone rides here, and it was just available to me, so
Okay.
I just took it, and it seemed to fit well, and I liked it, so I just stuck with it.
Is it carbon? Is it
Yeah, Carmen,
okay. Now what size cranks are you running?
175.
Oh wow. Okay. Okay. So how tall are you?
I'm 5'7",
Okay. So you're one
so
of the taller
taller.
ones.
Yes. Yeah, 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 long arms and long legs.
There we
So
go.
bigger bike's a bit better for me.
There we go. That explains why
Yeah,
the
yeah,
3X
yeah, yeah.
explains that. I know
Yep.
when like so I'm trying to remember. See, when I was riding out back in the 90s, I don't remember sizes being a thing like that. You just what size bike you got? Oh, 20-inch. Like we just
Yeah.
we just rode and everybody's like it's a 21 top two, 22, 25 point. And I'm just like, wow, does that all that make a difference? And they're like, yes.
Yeah, I feel like it's gotten a lot crazier too with measurements and yeah. Like I didn't know any of that until I came here, and then just working with the mechanics and everyone, I've learned a lot. Definitely just on mechanics
Oh, okay.
of the
So I was going
bike.
to ask you. So do you work on your own bike, or you have mechanics that just takes care of everything for you?
I do as much as I know how.
Okay.
Um, it's kinda just a learning as I go type thing.
Right.
Um, During the races, we do typically have a mechanic that comes with us, mainly the bigger races, just 'cause there's less time and that all type of stuff when we're racing.
Okay.
When I'm here, there's mechanics there if I need it, but
Right.
we mainly do our own.
And when you travel from event to event, do you take one or two bikes with you?
Too.
You take two, and
Yeah.
it's exactly the same setup, so you can just run on it,
Yep.
hop on it, and go.
Yep. Yeah. Which I never used to do until I came here, but I don't think I could ever go back.
Right. No, let me ask
Yeah.
you this though. So if you're flying and you're shipping your bikes, you're not shipping them. Are you shipping them together, or are you going to ship them separate in case they lose a bag? One of the bikes should hopefully be showing up.
Um, well, typically we'll ship them together. Like we have big boxes we travel with
Oh,
instead of
okay.
bike bags, like golf bags.
Right.
Um, but I think if I were to be at home, I'd do two separate.
Right.
'Cause it's yeah.
When you finally went to elite and you got to choose your number, what number did you choose?
I don't have a number yet. I'm still. You need to be top. Well, for UCI,
Right.
USA BMX, I have 191.
Okay.
Not a real reason why. I don't really know why I chose that. But in UCI, you need to be top 40 on the Olympic year
Okay.
in UCI points. Right now, I'm saying 43rd, so I'm close. So hopefully, there's one more race this year that I could
That you
get
can
some
get to.
points. But yeah,
Nice. So
yeah.
okay, so with that though, they just choose your number outside of that, or
Yeah, yeah. It's like, I think if you're elite, you get a number that starts with a 2,
Mhm.
and then the ranking is the next 2 numbers.
Right.
And then when you're U23, it starts with a 5,
Okay.
and then junior is 8, I think. And then based on rankings, it's what finishes it.
Who would you say one of your biggest rivals are, even though you might be friends with them? Who's the one that gives you the most trouble right now?
Oh, there's so many. I haven't raced USA BMX in 2 years, so I'll be there for Grands this year, so we'll
Hold on,
see
hold
when
on.
I'm.
So you're gonna be here? Are you gonna be racing at Grants?
Yes, I'm going home in November, and we'll be at Grands. So, I will let you know then.
I mean, it's crazy because I was talking to Jace about it. He was like, I haven't raced all year, and I'm just gonna show up to Grands and then just race. And I'm like, you're gonna show up to the Super Bowl and just
Yeah.
just be ready to roll. And you seem like you got the same mindset, even though you've been racing obviously throughout the year, but to just show up,
Yeah.
from not being over here in a couple years and just jive right
Yep,
into the
pretty
Super
much.
Bowl. That's pretty
Pretty
cool.
much. Yeah, I've been racing a lot here, so I'm not, like, completely off the couch,
Right,
but
right.
but yeah, USA BMX, yes, it's been a while.
And I'm sure somebody who knows that you're going to be there is probably like, why are you showing up to Grants? Like, just take the year off.
Grands is always my favorite race of the year, and the last few years I've been injured, so I couldn't actually go, and then last year I was here, so finally I get to be there, so it'll be
Okay.
very nice. Yeah.
So, are you rolling up with a team, or are you just kind of coming out here solo,
Nope,
or
all solo.
okay, okay.
Yep,
Is
yeah,
so okay, so you were born and raised in Canada, though, right?
yeah.
And for some reason, because I don't, I'm ignorant to all this, so I don't understand like the weather and everything. But from what I'm thinking, Canada has a lot of snow.
Mhm.
How is your winter sessions and training? Are you able to stay focused on that, or is it just once winter comes, the season's over?
So my local track at home closes in around October.
Mhm.
Just because of the weather, it gets so bad, the rain, the snow, everything freezes. Because I also live quite north, but where I train in Abbotsford, it's a little bit farther south, so it's not as cold. So
Right.
that track stays open a bit longer throughout the year, so we can pretty much train 8 or no, I'd say like 11, 10, 11 months out of the year, which is
Okay.
better than my home track that opens again in May.
Right.
So that's not ideal, but I figure it out most of the time. Yeah, I'll either go down to last year I was in Arizona for a bit and then Florida, so we figure it
How
out.
do you how does your regimen work out? Are you training and working out like 5-6 days a week, or and like offset that with going to the track, or do you do both, or like how you split that?
Usually it's 3 days on the track, 3 days in the gym, and then some sprints throughout there, depends on how I feel.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think it's a bit of both. Definitely more gym in the winter though, and then more riding in the summer. So it
Okay.
depends on the year too.
And now, do you change your gears per track?
Um, I used to a lot, but lately, no. I think, yeah, just I think for a little bit of a more of a challenge on the smaller tracks with the bigger gear.
Right.
Um, but who knows? For Grands, we might go way down and spin the legs real fast.
Right. Right.
We'll see. Yeah.
So okay, now back to the jumping because I'm like looking at everything. How do you approach a jump? Like, do you just you roll it a couple times to see like how you think you can come to it, or you see it and you're like, I just gotta go do it.
Yeah, I think the more I look at it and wait, the longer it'll take me to do it. So, I think if I just see someone do it first, I'm usually pretty okay with just going. Like, maybe I'll roll it one time or go up to it and then
Right.
see how it feels, but it's definitely gotten a lot better. It used to be way worse, but yeah, getting
Right.
there slowly.
Okay. When okay, so what have been your major injuries?
Great question. Um,
I've seen you had a few, but what
yes.
what happened to you?
So I've broken my collarbone 4 times in the last 3 years. 2 surgeries, so I have a plate on each side right now.
Oh wow.
So I think I don't even know how many screws are in there. Like 13, 14. Um, and both of those have happened in the last year. So
Oh wow.
not the best not the best luck on the collarbones, but yeah.
Was it from sending it or just you hit a turn too hard or
Yeah, the first one was in Houston in 22, I think. I just slid out in the turn. Um, and then the second one, I just lost a bit of control and there was a wind and just kind of went straight into the roller. And then last year was in Turkey, and then this year was in Paris at the Olympic test event. Just kind of, yeah. But they're all kind of random fluke injuries, but it happens. It's BMX.
so mental health and everything, how did you overcome that to get back out there and be, get back on top of your game?
It was definitely hard. Like it's still not 100%. Um, just with the history and kind of the negative thoughts on the whole crashing part, especially
Right.
in BMX. Like it's a dangerous sport. Like crashes happen,
Right.
and we can't really prevent them. We can just kind of ride as good as we can and as safe as we can. But yeah, it's definitely a big part of the sport and a big part of what I've kind of been training with and training on. So
Right.
I'm almost back to where I was,
There
but
we
it's
go.
definitely been a big cycle of crashing and coming back, then crashing again.
Right.
So yeah, it
My
takes
my
time.
my friend basically told me because you see crashes all the time, but you have to take it to the fact that it's not the same person you see crashing all the time. So the odds of you
Mhm.
going down like that much are not as much as you think they are. That your mind wants to play on you and be like, that turn's getting everybody. Well, it's not like that, like you got it. So
Yeah. Yeah. Just yeah, it really depends for
I
everyone, I
broke my
think.
I broke my ribs a couple years ago, and everybody's like, and I'm still in my 40s, early 40s, and everyone's like, "Are you done racing?" And I was like, "I want to be, but I know mentally if I just stop now, then the fear would always make me what could have been."
Mhm.
And not that I'm getting paid or any of that stuff to do it, but the one thing I can always say is the mental hurdle that I did was I came back and won a national in South Carolina, the following year, and I was just like that right there made it worth it to where I mentally was like, okay, now it took me a while to get back to it, obviously, but and I'm not out there like I said, I'm out there for fun. I'm usually in the back of the pack anyways, but I'm out there just having fun at my age. I'm not. Some
Yeah.
people train, some people exercise, some people eat right.
Yeah.
I don't do any of that. I'm just out there with a bunch of older people, just having fun and talking junk. That's what I do. So,
Yeah. Well,
it's
that's
how.
what the
Right,
sport's about.
right. So,
Yeah.
with you training, do you are you on like a nutrition plan? Like, are you set to eat certain things like leading up into your races, or you kind of just eat what you want whenever?
No, I think well, when I'm living here, there's like a restaurant that we get prepared for every day. It's a public restaurant, so anyone can go and eat. But it's typically pretty good food. Like
Okay.
sometimes it's weird what we get, typical Swiss food, but it's usually quite clean, so I don't really have to worry about eating. I
Okay.
think it's mainly just eating enough is my problem sometimes.
Is it one of those things where when because I've noticed too that a lot of pros when they get out there and they're racing, they're not hungry, so they won't eat. They're like I gotta tell myself to have a granola bar or an orange or something that'll
Yeah,
kind of get in that mode. Is that
yeah,
kind of how you are with it too?
yeah. I think just over time you kind of figure out what your stomach likes when you're racing and what it can
Yeah.
take. So I think I've learned just a few things that I do like to eat when I'm racing,
Okay.
which it does definitely help to eat
Right.
when you're like when it's a long day or when there's a lot of racing. So yeah.
So boom, it's the end of the first night, Friday night or whatever of your race. It's time to eat dinner. Where's your go-to spot?
Ooh, go-to spot.
Or food?
I'm pretty basic. I do like a good chicken and rice, um, a good pasta.
Okay. I was gonna say a
Uh,
lot of people say like Olive Garden or something that they want to just carb up real quick on after
yeah,
the race.
yeah. I think just mainly just eating enough, like, to recover from the day is
Right.
the main goal. Like, it's not yeah, it needs to like healthy foods are definitely a little bit better, but
Right.
yeah, just eating enough,
What's your
I'd
favorite
say.
movie? Uh-oh. I stumped you.
I watch I actually don't watch a lot of movies. I'm not a big movie fan. I
Okay.
can't sit still for that long,
Yeah, me too.
but if I had to, I think it'd be like a Step Brothers, uh, yeah, like that type of movie, funny comedy movies are my
Okay.
go-to.
Now, do you get
Yeah.
into scary movies since October
No.
is?
Nope. Not my thing at all. No.
I grew up scared of my own shadow, so I get it. But now that I'm like older and everything, it's literally like they're so good to where I'm like, it's funny to me. You know, you're like, really? She's gonna, why are you running upstairs? Like somebody's chasing you. Why are you running upstairs?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I can't. I still can't. I've never been able to, and I don't think I ever will.
Right.
Like, I've always hated Halloween. I hate being scared.
Yeah. Oh,
So,
believe me, I'm the same with like Knott's Berry Farm and Disneyland in
yeah.
California. They're like, yeah, we're gonna go to this and we're gonna go to nah, people jumping out with
Yeah.
chainsaws and all that. I'm like, I'm
No.
afraid I'm gonna hurt somebody because I'm just gonna
No,
swing.
no, no. No. I'll be in the next room watching Mickey Mouse.
Right, right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so did you say you played just about everything? Were you in soccer growing up?
Yep. Yep.
Because Shannon, the guy that rolls with me on the show, he always tends to say that for some reason BMX and soccer go together. You know, and a lot of power in your legs. To generally they
Mhm.
go hand in hand.
Yep.
So, do
Yeah. I
you?
played soccer until I was, like, 17,
Okay,
and so I only really stopped because I think it just ended because the school was over.
right.
But I think I would definitely wanna keep playing if I still had the chance. But
There you
I
go.
was getting too injured there too.
Um,
Like, I had to pick one or the other.
yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense. Because I was going to say when it comes to some people they're like, oh man, when I played sports, they're like, I enjoyed it, but I didn't like the fact that if our team lost, we lose. Versus with BMX, it's based on what I do.
Yes.
You know.
Yes. That was also a struggle a bit. Definitely. Yeah.
So, what do you do in your downtime?
Um, I am in school for nutrition, so I
Okay,
do that when I don't have anything else to do. Sometimes we get out. It's kinda hard not having a car here just because Switzerland is a very expensive country,
yeah.
so it's hard to take the train every day or take the train here or there or whatever, so we do our best to stay busy, but sometimes it's tough. This room is I spend most of the time.
Because I guess one of the things you just chill and it's free or less
Yeah,
expensive. So that
yeah,
makes sense. What
true.
what what would you say? What would you say your hobby was growing up? Did you have like something you that you build doing. Building. My brain's been doing. You can see the
I got it. I got it. I understand. Well, my dog's at home, or I have 2 dogs. But so I spend a lot of my time walking them or going on bike rides with them, or
That's cool.
if they don't go for a walk, they get kind of crazy. So,
right. When we say bike ride, we're talking them in the basket like ET, or you riding and them running?
Yeah, they're them running.
Okay.
They're too big to go in the basket. They'd kill me. Yeah, typically mountain biking. So I'll go up the trails. I live like 2 minutes from all the trails.
Now, what are your who are all your sponsors right now?
Right now, Troy Lee and Blonix.
Okay.
Living here, we have all our own sponsors for the team.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of almost like a factory team in America, living here. Yeah.
So, are you with the Olympics ending this year? Have you already set your eyes on training for the next one? Are you something that you're gonna go for?
Yeah, I think that's always kind of been the goal. I was alternate this year.
Okay.
So I think, yeah, if it's possible, that would definitely be nice.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
being an alternate though, you got to go to Paris and you got to explore and so
Yeah, I didn't get to go during the Olympics, but I was there for the test event where we tried the track and tested everything for the race.
That's what somebody was telling me. They're like, once like it's official and they're there and they're not and they don't need you guys have to leave or something like that. Is what somebody was telling me.
Yeah. I'm not sure because in Canada the alternate usually doesn't travel to the Olympics with the team.
Right.
So I don't really know how that would work, but yeah, I think pretty much train up until official practice with everyone, and then once racing starts, you kind of have to just watch. But yeah.
Okay. Mel, was this your first Olympic that you were involved in, or obviously, yeah, it had to be right because you're still you're what 20?
21, just 21.
So,
yeah.
This was your first.
Yeah.
First go around with it. Okay.
Yeah.
How was it surreal that you were there? Like, how are you feeling about all that just to go?
It was fun. It was definitely an experience. I think it would have been a little bit better if I was actually racing.
Of course.
But yeah, it was nice to see like kind of what it would be like, and yeah, everything in riding and racing with the people that went. So
so for people that don't know, is it one of those things where it's based off of how you do in UCI that determines whether or not you'll get a spot on the Olympic team?
Yeah, so the Olympic cycle starts 2 years before the games.
Mm-hmm.
So just only UCI races count. So World Cups, European rounds, and then UCI Sundays in America.
Okay.
And then a few other races also can count for that. But yeah, it's different, definitely. Like you kind of have to understand it.
But it's determined. What I'm trying to figure out is it's not determined by either you or this person goes. It's determined by how you guys place in general amongst the other people, though, right? You could have up to 3 or 4 riders if you guys manage to get those points.
Yeah. So it depends on. So 3 people, up to 3 people from every country can make points.
Okay.
So let's say like France in the men's, they were top of the country standings, so they got 3 spots. And then second in the standings also gets 3. Third and fourth get 2, or third to fifth maybe get 2.
Okay.
And then everyone else gets 1. And then whoever's, I guess, just top of the country in the spots that you have, make it. And then there needs to be 1 person from every continent. So, like, most of them are pretty stacked, but then there's continents like Africa where there's not a ton of people.
Right.
And then there's just a few other random spots that you can make throughout there.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Now, is that something that you keep an eye on closer to than like say you, because to me it seems like USA BMX point system is pretty easy to know where you are. You just boom, go online, there it is. So is this something that you have to actually like monitor to see like, okay, all right, I got to race this race coming up in order to maintain where I'm at and hold my spot, I guess.
Yeah, definitely like getting closer to the games. It's you really need to look at the points and all the races and what you need to make it. And usually, if you have a good team, they'll help a lot with that. It's quite complicated, so if you have someone that knows what they're doing,
right,
it definitely will help. But yeah.
Do you remember your first pro bike?
I was on Rift for a long time before I moved here.
Okay.
So I've always just rode a Rift.
Okay.
And yeah, that was my first kind of good bike.
Do you still have the original one that you had?
Yeah, not the first. I've given them to kids kind of around where I live, so I'll see them at the local track.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so they're getting put to good use.
Do you find it pretty cool or weird when people ask you for your autograph?
It's nice. I like it. Like I don't think it'll ever really get old. Yeah. I think I kind of grew up as the kid, and now it's flipped. So yeah, it'll always be nice.
I always felt like because of the podcast, sometimes I'll be at an event and someone will call out my name, and I'm just like, who knows me?
yeah, it's same.
So it's pretty cool. The when it's all said and done, and you finally retire years from now, what do you want to be remembered as?
I think just someone who people were like, "Oh yeah, she's nice." Like I don't really want to be known as a person who was too serious or too mean or like didn't really want to give kids high fives or I just like I want to be known as someone who really loved the sport. Like I don't if you don't love it, then what's the point? So yeah, and that like results come second to me. I think once your step one is achieved, then everything else will follow. So yeah.
Do you watch the vet pros when you go to a race? Or do you have a chance to watch them if you're not up there?
I try to. The only problem with that is when we're racing, they go right after us. So it's a little bit tough to actually see them. But I think it's a good race always.
Do you think in a few years they should have the women's vet pro, or do you think that there's just not enough women pros to make a vet pro class?
I don't know. Like if there was enough, yeah, I think it totally should be a thing. But yeah, I don't know if there is.
So, and how long have you been pro?
Since I was first year junior, so 17, I think. Yeah, 2020.
Okay. How was you? I always like to ask people that once the 30-foot line went away for you once you turned pro, do you feel like that made it a lot better, or you wish that it just stayed the same, or do you wish that everybody can have that 30-foot line disappear?
I think it kind of changes when you turn pro. Like when you're younger, I think the respect is a little bit lower. Like when you turn elite and junior and pro, I think it's kind of just like a known thing that you don't just like fully chop someone right out of the gate. Like, yeah, it happens, but yeah, that's definitely not something you also want to be known for. I'd say if you do it respectfully, it's fine. But yeah, I didn't really notice a huge difference. Between having it and not. So.
Would you say, from one of the things that I've asked is, they say the respect is more in the pro level than it is from the 17 to 20, because I guess everybody's trying to just make it to that level. So once you go pro, it's literally like the respect is there. If you're out front, it's yours. You got to just go get them, get around them, whatever. Versus the 17 to 20, it's like, I don't care. I'm coming to get it from you.
Yeah, I think once you get a bit older, it's like the crashing part is one, but then also like the respect. It's just you don't want to be known as a person who just chops someone so hard on every lap. Like
Right.
that's just not really who you want to be.
Right.
But yeah, I think girls are pretty bad. I'll have to say it. Like the girls, I think the guys are a lot better with that part.
Right.
Typically, I wouldn't say all the time,
Right.
but the girls are just they see it and they'll go for it. So
Right.
yeah, I don't.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Like I watch it, and to me, to watch the 17 to 20, and then it goes to, I think it goes 21 to 30 for women's. As I think it goes instead
I
of the
don't know
21,
actually. I
25.
don't know.
So I
I
think
don't
it goes
know.
something like that. I like watching that class, and then the men 17 to 20 and 21 to 25. Like
Mhm.
those guys are like they're aggressive out there. And for some reason, when I watch them, like when I watch the men from the 21, 25 or whatever age group that is next, I look at them and I go, man, why don't you turn pro? And it's like, some people are like, I think they're
Mhm.
just either having a lot of fun that they just don't want to take it that serious to go into that level.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
but they're still out there competing at that level. So I'm always like, that's pretty cool. Have you ever raced and looked at it and thought, you know what, if I wasn't racing at a pro level, I'd step back down just to continue to keep doing it if I felt I wasn't competitive enough? Or would you just hang it up?
Yeah, I think kind of my personality is if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna fully like go for it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I've never really thought about if I didn't take that step, but I definitely love the sport, and if I'm not racing at
Right.
this level, I'd definitely either be coaching or doing smaller races somewhere, but yeah.
Okay. Do you are you somebody who, so if it came down to movies, reading books, audiobooks, which ones would be your thing that you do?
Definitely not reading. Sorry, mom, but, uh, I think my go-to would be music over anything.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And what type of music do you listen to?
Um, kinda more pop, the basics.
Okay. Something like,
Yeah.
so so when you're going to the track, are you listening to music get pumped up or do you not listen to it at all just to stay focused and in your zone?
Depends, like, I think most ideal situation is if there's music just around in the
Mhm.
area, so I still can hear what's going on around me and talk to other people and not have them
Right.
think I'm not listening. Like, I hate missing things, so if someone
Right.
talks to me and I don't hear it, then
Right. Right.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Um, the way that your life is right now and up to this point, if they were to make a movie about you, what do you think the title would be called?
Um, just go with the flow.
Just go with the flow. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. I
yeah,
like it. I'm pretty much
yeah,
on the same way to just mellow. Just it is what it
yeah,
is.
yeah. See what
But
happens in the
so
next
do
24
you set
hours.
do you set goals or do you just go out there and just
Yeah.
take it day by day?
I think I have just kinda overall goals, like, I don't really like setting result-based goals just because my main goal is usually just to have fun, be confident, and enjoy what I'm doing and not take it too seriously just because that sometimes takes a negative effect. Um, and then again, like, the results will come if all
Right.
those things work out. Um, but yeah, like, every session I'll have small goals I set for myself, so I think that's a little bit more helpful for me, at least.
Have you ever been so nervous or felt something wasn't right that you've stepped back and just said, you know what, I think I'm gonna go ahead and pull out of this one?
Yeah, yeah, all the time. Like, I think I've definitely learned now, like, if I feel something, then just don't risk it. One of my collarbones is because I just went for it, I didn't hold back.
Right.
So I know now, like, if something isn't right, then just
Right.
don't do it.
So if
Um,
the spidey senses are tingling, go ahead and just call
yeah, which took a long time to learn. But
Well, you're
yeah,
young.
I think yeah, I still have a lot more years, so
Right.
I need to keep this body together
Right.
somehow,
Right.
not just with metal.
The good news is, and I call it the good news, is in about 20, 30 years when you get to be around my age, you'll wake up and something will different will hurt for no reason. So you got something to look
Yeah,
forward to.
I mean, I have that now, so
Oh,
that's probably not a
geez.
good sign.
Right. Right.
But
Uh,
but yeah, yeah,
it's like I've grown up playing all different types of sports and everything. And now it's to the point where I'll wake up and if my pillow's like sitting sideways and my head's like this, and I wake up and I'm like, oh, that's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt for like a day or two, you
mhm,
know? So
mhm.
but also too, who did you grow up with as your I don't want to say as like your idol, but more of as your role model. There we go.
I think growing up in USA BMX, it was always like Elise, Lauren, Felicia, those girls.
Hmm.
Um, and then I think Mariana was kind of my biggest inspiration. Just
Right.
yeah, she's the queen. So
Right. Right.
um, yeah.
Okay. Would you say you modeled your style of racing after any of them, or you just came up with your own and you roll with it?
I definitely looked at them and watched how they rode, but I think I overall kind of just rode how I like to do it and how it worked best for me. So
Do
yeah.
you study game film as far as knowing like who your competition is? Let me go out there and see how they do certain tracks. Like when you go back, you can go back and look at, let's just say, Rock Hill, and you could go back and look at
Mhm.
people you've competed with them and like, okay, this is how they ride. This is how I think I can get them by watching their film.
No, not really. I think if I were to watch something, I'd watch it just for kind of like the best lines on the track,
Right.
not necessarily what they're doing and how I can beat them.
Right.
Um, yeah, not really. I've never really done anything like that. I think I've just kind of went for it, go with the flow.
Right. Right. Right.
Yep. Yeah.
So when was the last time? When was the last time you had some you time? I always like to say some me time. When was the last time you had some me time? Where you just no BMX, no working out, no eating this, no planning that. I just need to be with me and just veg out for a day or two.
Um, rarely. I'm going home in a month and a bit, so
Okay.
hopefully after grands I'll have some time then. But yeah, this
Do
year's
you
been a bit weird for
do you
races.
do you miss home cooking or what?
Yes. Yes. I miss it so much. Like, you always miss it when you're gone, but not when you're there. Like,
Right?
oh, I cannot wait. I've been here since May, so it's been a long time since I've been home.
Right. So you got like a
Um,
list of, hey, this is what we're
yes,
doing.
I do. I do have a list on my phone of all the
Love
things I
it.
wanna do.
Love it. Love it. Love it. What
Yeah.
is your so in Canada, what is your guys' like, I guess, your hot spot of what to eat? Like in Cali, we had In and out here in North Carolina, I guess it's
Um,
Bojangles.
we
What you go?
have Tim Hortons. Tim
What
Hortons is our thing.
what now,
It's
what
kinda
is that?
like it's like Dunkin', I'd say.
Okay.
Kinda just like not it's not fast food, I think it'd be a little bit better quality than that.
Right, right.
But, yeah, it's my go-to if I want something quick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Um, have you ever thought about do you journal any of your experiences as you go along the way so you'll remember a lot of what you've done to look back on it and still have it fresh while you're doing
I should. Um, I used to a
it?
lot more.
Right.
Not so much now. I take a lot of photos, so
Awesome.
maybe that can work. But yeah,
Yeah.
I do need to. I think it's a good thing to do just overall racing or just what you do during the day. Yeah.
You've accomplished a lot as for being so young. What are the I guess other than Olympics, what is the main goals for your 25 25-26 season, I guess, as this one comes to an end, or has already ended?
Well, next year is my last year of U23
Mhm.
in World Cups and Worlds, so I think kind of doing well there. Worlds is in Denmark, so training for that I think would be the goal for next year since it's not Olympic cycle year the
Right.
next 2 years. Um, yeah, I think it'd be back on the podium again would be nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what do you do with like I guess because I saw you had some really dope jerseys. Do you have like your jerseys hung up at home for all the places that you've ridden and rode for and all that stuff? Do you have like a trophy room for
The garage kinda, just thrown anywhere I could put it. I
it?
have
Right.
one shelf at home that's quite looks like it's gonna fall anytime soon,
Right.
but I had to limit myself on what I kept. My
Right.
parents were getting a bit mad with the closets of just my stuff.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Well, I was about to ask you,
yeah.
how old were you when you went from trophies to stamps?
Oh, good question. Young. It
Yeah.
didn't take long for my parents to say, "No more trophies."
Right.
Uh, I don't know, maybe, like, 13? No, like 12, 11,
Okay.
around
But
there.
when it comes to grands, always trophy or stamps?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I won grands when I was 16, and I think at that time, that was the best race of my life.
Right.
I won the national title too,
Nice.
so that's a nice trophy I have in my room. That's middle of that shelf.
All right.
So,
Right. And those
yeah.
things are huge. Those things are like,
Yep.
I see those, and
Yeah.
that's like the one because I know a lot of people who they take stamps, and I'm like, so when it comes to grands, are you stamping that thing? Or and they're like, no, it's not
Yeah.
even an option.
Well, how tall is it? Like 7 feet, I
Right.
think?
Right.
And then the big cup. So that was I had to buy a whole new suitcase for that one.
Right. Right. Oh,
Yeah.
jeez, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
So, dang, that's pretty cool though. Now, so what are your favorite parts? So, if you when you built your bike, what are the ones? What are the parts that you're taking to put on that new bike? Like you're like, I gotta use these cranks that I have now. I gotta have, I want new bars, old bars. Like,
Um, I'm not really that picky. Like,
yeah,
I've rode the same bike pretty much my whole life up till last year, and
okay,
then last year was kind of more trial and error, I think.
hmm
Um, but I'd say I'd probably the pickiest with my grips. If my grips aren't how I like them, the whole bike feels off.
really,
So,
okay,
yeah,
okay.
I don't know why, it's just kind of a weird weird thing I have, but,
So does this mean that you break them in, or you just always need new grips?
um,
Like how often
I'll
you change?
usually just change them off of my old bike to my new bike, like, I won't
Okay,
really get new grips until they have holes in them,
okay,
pretty much.
right, right.
So, yeah,
Now
yeah.
what type of tires are you running?
Tioga,
Okay.
Black Labels.
Are
Yeah.
you how often do you change your tires?
Um, every 6 months, I'd
Okay.
say. Yeah,
So
just whenever they
there's
get
really no rhyme or
old.
reason to it. You look at
No.
them if you feel like they need to be changed, you'll do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now are you riding your tires like super hard, like 80, 110, or you kind of air them out a little bit because you want to be able to feel a little bit more, or a little bit less?
I think for racing around 90,
Okay.
um, and then training just whatever they're at. If they feel a little bit hard when I squeeze it, I'll pump it up,
Right.
but around 80, 90.
Are you checking every moto?
No, definitely definitely not. I should. Like, yesterday, I was riding and I went off the first jump and my whole grip turned,
Oh wow.
so I definitely need to check more often,
Right. Yeah.
but, yeah, I learned my lesson yesterday, so
I was talking to KJ Romero when we were interviewing him, and I was like, "You ever had anybody tell you something that just kind of threw you off?" And he was like, he's like, he's like, usually I don't really, I'm in my zone and whatever. And he goes, and this little kid just came up to me out of nowhere, and we're sitting there talking for a brief second before I was going up there. And he's like, he just looked right at me and he goes, "Hey, do you ever feel like your chain's gonna come off right when you're about to race?" And he's like, "What the hell?" He's like, no, I can think about when I was up in the gate, like, where did that come from? You know?
Definitely. If someone did that to me, I would, I
Right?
would not stop thinking about it. My pedal broke too in the gate a few weeks ago, and I didn't realize it until I was finished. Luckily, I think.
Oh, so it didn't come off completely. It just kind of just snapped.
No. Yeah. I got lucky on that one.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things too, like, because as you know, when we get up there, and I don't know if they're trying to like play games with us, because I know you guys, when you guys race, it's different. You guys are all quiet and you go up there professionals, but for like us, for some reason, there's always one guy who wants to talk about everybody else's injuries right before we're about to go up into the gate.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, you heard about so and so and this and that, and you're just looking at them like, just shut up, man. We're not trying to hear that right now.
I don't want to hear that at this moment.
Right?
Anything else is better.
Right?
Yep.
So, I mean, honestly, I feel like, and I don't know if you feel the same way too, but especially since you've come back from your injuries, doesn't it feel like each time that you ride at the track that broke you pretty much, and you go back out there and you rewrite that track, even if you don't win, doesn't that feel like a win to you?
Oh yeah, 100%. Like the other day, I did a gate with someone for the first time since my surgery. So even that was just a win. It wasn't even on the same track, completely different track. It was with boys.
Right.
Like it wasn't even close to anything, but still it was like, oh yeah, that's one. There's another step. Another step up the stairs.
So wait a minute. So when was the last time that you raced?
Supercross since Paris, since I crashed, but smaller tracks I've raced a lot. I think like 6 or 7 races since then.
Since the crash?
That was in April.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're mentally and physically you're dialed in for Grands next month.
Yeah. I don't really have much to prove there, so it's just seeing all my friends again.
Right.
Just there for fun. So yeah, should be a lot of fun.
There we go. All right, and I got one final question before we call it, and I'm always allowed to ask one weird question. Do you believe that we went to the moon? As in,
humans did?
Yeah, as humans went to the moon in the 60s.
Yes, I think so. I think because haven't humans been to Mars now?
Not humans, but as far as like
something's been to Mars.
The
robot's been to Mars.
Right.
I think so. I think the moon would probably be the easiest place to get to if you're going to space.
Right. Makes sense.
But yeah, I've seen all those conspiracies about whether it's real or not.
Right.
But I'd say, yeah, there's definitely some stuff going on up there in space.
That's like my thing for the internet right there. I love a good conspiracy theory, and I'll go down the rabbit hole with them. And everyone's like, "You believe in it?" And I'm like, "I'd say some I believe in, but some of them I'm just like, it's so deep that you're just like, huh, maybe it did happen like that."
Yeah, they get you thinking for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So, also, let's see here. Your beauty grands. What's your one favorite thing that you like about Grands? Because I keep hearing that it's the most electrifying event to go to. What's the one thing that you look forward to being there?
Well, now I think it's just seeing everyone. It's been a while since I've seen all the people in America, so just that, and obviously the night show is super fun for the people racing, also the people watching. Another thing I kind of forgot about that I just remembered the other day was the big autograph signing session. That's always fun for the pros, I think.
Right.
Just being with all your teammates and all your friends and being there for hours, talking to all the little kids.
Right. Just hanging out, chilling, and signing autographs.
Yeah.
That does sound pretty cool. What's the one bit of advice you would give to the younger self of you that you would give yourself?
Start jumping soon, like right now, as soon as you can. Yeah,
Right.
that and just like keep it fun. That's my biggest thing is just enjoy what you're doing, and I think everything else will come. But that and jumping, learn your skills as soon as you can, so you don't have to learn it when you're 20.
Right. Right.